Hello, this is Matt on the Moon LIMBO channel, and XRP is in limbo in terms of price action, just waiting for a deeper correction that will be led by Bitcoin. That's what I'm hearing from a number of chart analysts that I respect and follow, and I think it's more likely than not that, in this case, the majority of these particular analysts are correct. And so for those of you that may be thinking, oh my gosh, this is scary news, I say, you must be new. No. This is not scary. This is not supposed to be some, I don't know what my title for the video will be, but whatever it is, something about, obviously XRP further correction, this and that. No. This is good news. Like, at least for me, this is seriously good news. Look, my XRP bags have been packed since October of last year. And, if I bought no additional cryptocurrency, and I have been buying this year, mind you, quite a bit, actually. But if I can't purchase any more crypto this market cycle, if I were somehow forbidden to do so, I'd say, okay, I can make peace with that. I think I'm okay. And so I'm at a point where, look, as long as the cryptocurrency hasn't gone parabolic, I'll consider purchasing it. But I have enough where, for me, it's like, if I think that there actually is a dip going, that the inbound, I'm probably just going to wait to see if that happens, especially if a ton of analysts that I respect and follow think it's more likely than not. And there is no guarantee. Maybe it just keeps going up. But to me, it seems like there's a good enough chance that I personally am willing to sit on the sidelines. Now, mind you, I did purchase literally yesterday. I spent a bunch of money yesterday buying a few different altcoins. Price went up a bit today, and now I'm hearing that it's very likely things are going to go back down. So I've decided to pause yet again. And so what I won't do in terms of timing markets, you could call this timing markets if you want. I don't care. But if as far as selling existing holdings, expecting them to go lower and then buying back in, I am not going to do that. I know that some of you out there do it. That is extremely risky. That is outside of the risk exposure I'm willing to take on. Too many people get bitten on the rear side when they attempt stuff like that. And of course, on Twitter, you'll see people bragging about when it works for them, but too many times it doesn't. And I'm just not willing to play that game. I am a holder. I have hands of steel. And I'm emotionally impervious to this type of downside price action. So it's not in any sort of negative way emotionally going to impact me. I understand that most people will be very scared when this downside price action happens, assuming it does. And I'm just not going to feel that way. I just recognize that people will do that. They're going to, in terms of selling, when the price inevitably goes down, they're going to feel the way they feel. And I'm not going to feel that way, and I'm not going to sell. I'm going to buy. Just don't forget that most people in this market will not make money. They will lose money. And so, given that's the case, what does that say about majority opinion on when it makes sense to buy and sell in crypto? Look, I'm sorry, but the group mentality here in terms of when it makes sense to buy and sell, it is off. It's like almost 100% of the time the exact opposite of what the group says. This groupthink mentality. It's almost 100% of the time the case that it's best to just do the opposite here. Now, to be clear, I don't have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast. There's nothing special about me, and I make YouTube videos purely as a hobby. That is all that it is. I don't want anyone to think I'm someone or something that I'm not. And so I'm about to share with you some thoughts from a number of analysts just illustrating this point that it's likely that Bitcoin is going to go down, which means that in the meantime, before it does, XRP along with the rest of the altcoins kind of in limbo here, but I do believe that you'll be seeing XRP along with all the altcoins go down. And to me, again, this purely represents opportunity. And I would need to mention this too before going further. The macro trend for this bull cycle, it is intact. Okay, so you have to expect that there will be corrections along the way, and that most retail speculators do not understand what it means when there's a correction. They don't understand that it's natural. I understand it's very volatile, but that's just, look at the history of this asset class. Everything's volatile. All these price movements, right? And so it's not something for me to me that's fearful. Now, at some point there will be a final top for the market cycle, and then it'll start going down, and eventually there will be a final one. But based on all of the analysts that I follow, I just don't believe we're anywhere near that top. We haven't even had a true alt season yet. Yeah, it's begun, but in terms of true parabolic movement, you haven't seen it from that many coins, right? You could argue Doge, but there aren't that many. And so as I record this, XRP is at 47.2 cents. Bitcoin's at 50,346. Market cap for the asset class, $1,516 billion. And Bitcoin dominance at 61.89%. By the way, the Spark token IOU trading at 65 cents above XRP. Well, how about that? So we'll have to see what happens as soon as the real thing's released. But right now, I'll tell you what, I don't mind seeing that. I know what I hate, and I don't hate that. Here's a tweet from chart analyst Credible Crypto, who now has 124,400 followers. He wrote the following. Just a little bit to go. Still looking for one more flush across the board. If you want to take advantage of it, decide on which coins you plan to buy now. Decide where you will buy them now. Set bids now and wait. Your goal is to catch deep wicks to the downside. Op won't last long. It's an opportunity won't last long. And then he wrote HBAR, XRP, ETH, just as a few of the ones that he's looking at, obviously. And so for those that don't respond emotionally in terms of buying and selling, I think a lot of them will view the impending dip, assuming these people are right, as an opportunity. Somebody asked Credible Crypto in response to that, do you risk your holding trying to catch the dip and buy at lower prices? To which Credible Crypto responded, I don't sell spot for dips. I just buy more, which is exactly what I've been saying. I would be terrified to sell any of my existing positions hoping for lower price movement, because if I'm wrong, the parabolic moment for any one coin happens probably going to happen one time during this market cycle. And if you think about it, in terms of the bull action for XRP over the last market cycle, it went on for, about 2.5 weeks. But, it traded sideways or / was in bear mode leading up to that moment for multiple years. So you think even if it was just 3 years, that's over 1,000 days. And then you're talking about like 17 days it was moving to the upside. And so if you miss that initial impulse, you miss it. So you're going to have to buy in at like double the price it is now potentially if you can catch it that quickly. And so for me, the risk for that, it's just too great. You pick up a few percentage points to buy in cheaper, but the amount of risk exposure you have, it's just substantial. And I'm just not willing to do that. If you want to do that, go for it. And kudos to you if it works. I'm just saying from my perspective, that's really gutsy, very risky. Like for me, and I don't mean this offensively to anybody that's doing this, it's like for me, if I were doing that, I would feel reckless personally if I did that. I can't do that. I've been purchasing and holding for years, and to put that type of to engage in that type of activity, that kind of risk, just hoping to pick up a few extra points, I'm just thinking, ain't worth the sun. So I'm just gonna keep holding, and whenever these coins I hold take off, super duper and whatever. Not going to beat myself up for not getting a couple extra points. And then somebody asked in response to that initial tweet there, Credible Crypto, your take on XRP got laddered buy order set below 30 cents. Credible Crypto responds, shouldn't go below 25 cents, not even a wick. So 30 to 35 cents is the absolute lowest I could expect for a wick. And so he's not talking about it closing for a time, pick your time frame, at the 30 to 35 cent range. He's saying if you're lucky, maybe you'll see that. But in all likelihood, it's not going to go that low. Next here, another tweet. Where was I? Oh, here we go. Somebody asked him, so Credible Crypto, because he already stated just a little bit earlier that he's expecting Bitcoin to go down to $38,000 to $40,000. And so somebody asked, okay, when do you expect this dip for Bitcoin to go to $38,000 to $40,000? And Credible Crypto said probably within the next few days. Now, he's not the only chart analyst I follow that said basically the same thing. I watched a video from Blockchain Backer, my fellow XRP YouTuber, and he said that there's a 99.9% certainty that Bitcoin is going to crash down further than it is right now. And the first level that he cited was Bitcoin at $38,000. And so it's a virtual certainty from his perspective. You are going to see this type of downside action. Credible Crypto, on his own, said the same thing effectively. And it's just interesting that their opinions happen to more or less overlap. I mean, they're very similar right there. Fine. So Credible Crypto said 38 to 40. Blockchain Backer just said 38. It's about the same expectation in terms of price action here. So that definitely caught my attention. Blockchain backer also said it's possible, not that he said it's likely or that it will happen, but he said it's possible based on previous history that you could see Bitcoin go a good bit lower. And I can't remember the exact figure, and I don't want to put words in his mouth. He might have said upper 20,000 range or maybe lower 30,000 range, but there's a possibility it could go lower. But what he's really about almost 100% sure, he literally said 99.9% sure, is that it is going to go down. And then the first figure that he cited in that video was $38,000. And here is the analyst that really called this high altitude investing. I mean, blockchain backer, to his credit, absolutely not to take anything away from him, he did say that he thought it was probable that we'd see this downside. And he was right, for sure. So not taking anything away. High altitude investing spoke the most firmly out of any analyst that I follow. And he said emphatically, no, this is very clear. I watched his videos on this. He made his case. He said, look, and he cited volume, the direct, all sorts of stuff. And he said, no, it's going to go down. All sorts of people said he was nuts. And it has gone down. And now everybody's on board with this idea that Bitcoin is going, not everybody, but many more as a result of this initial breakdown are confident that it actually is going to continue going down, which means you will see the whole market tank with it. It's a virtual certainty, I think, anyway. And so kudos to him for pulling this out. He wrote, I see Bitcoin bulls are trying to hold on to the idea of a bullish breakout. I just don't see it in the price action. I think we will liquidate more leveraged longs before the bottom of this move. Chart analyst DIY Investing, I watched a video from him today as well. And so this is not on the topic of an immediate drop of Bitcoin price, which certainly would affect XRP, but he pulled up the Bitcoin price chart and compared it to where we are at with the XRP price chart, and it was striking how similar the activity looks. It's just that XRP lags behind. It was really interesting to see that video. And so he says very firmly, look, the structure, the macro structure for XRP price movement, it's still intact, right? And so even if you're going to see this, if you are going to see this dip, fine, but still, this thing's going to take off along with the rest of the asset class here. And so he was very firm on that. And then there is this piece from the Daily Hodl. Check this out. You will find this interesting. Analyst who accurately called Bitcoin's biggest crash outlines Bitcoin's potential trajectory, analyzes state of XRP. A veteran trader who built a reputation in the crypto space after calling the start of Bitcoin's last bear market is mapping out key price levels for the flagship cryptocurrency. Peter Brandt is unveiling his buy zone for the leading crypto asset to his 428,400 Twitter followers based on the depth of corrections of the previous bull market. Now, for those of you unaware, Peter Brandt, he's a very popular chart analyst. He's been doing this for several decades, literally. I think he had a best-selling book on Amazon on the topic of trading, and he's got a huge following, obviously. He despises Ripple and XRP. He hates it. His viewpoints from a fundamental perspective on it are completely off. I completely disagree. But I'm not going to take away anything from him in terms of the legacy he's built for himself in terms of becoming a rather famous trader in the world of crypto to this point and all of his experience. And so he did call the top of the last Bitcoin market cycle. He also called the bottom. And so I think he's good at this. It's just, a lot of the stuff he has tweeted about XRP over the years, like I highlight it on the channel, but I'm like, guys, just take this with a grain of salt because it's usually negative in terms of directionally where he thinks XRP is going to go. And I'm like, the amount of negativity you spot off for this one coin, it looks like an outlier compared to the amount of negativity you say about any other coin, including Bitcoin, which is interesting considering the whole freaking market just moves together. So it's like, I look at this and I'm like, I think that some of your bias might be bleeding out into what you're putting into the world having to do with XRP, but it is what it is. Nonetheless, you'll see he took a jab at XRP, but he cited a potential positive outlook in terms of price action. Now here he did cite, and this caught my attention as well, it is possible you could see a 35% Bitcoin price correction, which would take it down to right at that $38,000 level, which is in line with what Credible Crypto and Blockchain Backer were talking about. And directionally, it's in line with what High Altitude Investing said we should expect as well. Now down here, Brandt adds that this is fun. I really like this, and this just goes to what I was saying earlier about whatever the majority does, or if there's a ton of like euphoric feeling, like that means it's time to run. Check this out. Brandt adds that the excessive bullishness experienced by market participants recently suggested that a pullback was on the horizon. He cites the laser ray eye trend on Twitter, where big crypto personalities like MicroStrategy CEO Michael Saylor and CoinShares executive Meltem Demirors used laser-eyed profile photos to cheer on Bitcoin's ascent to $100,000. And here's a quote from Peter Brandt. I was looking for some clue that a more meaningful correction in Bitcoin was coming due. The convincing evidence was the Bitcoin eyes. Unbridled exuberance is always dangerous and usually quite predictive. Well, what do you know? The masses have it wrong almost always. They really do. When they say, oh, absolutely it's the time to buy, that means it's probably the time to sell. When they say absolutely it's time to sell, it's probably the time to buy. Useful idiots. Right? Take a look at this. So he's taking a jab at XRP while acknowledging potential for upward price action. This is fun here. From Peter Brandt, I do not trade OTC, which is over the counter, securities. So that the jab right there, obviously, is that he's claiming XRP as a security. It certainly is not, but, Peter Brandt doesn't like Ripple, doesn't like XRP, ideological reasons, this and that. And then he wrote, if I did trade such securities, XRP would be of interest. Inverted head and shoulders contingent upon pattern completion. XRP is a security issued by Ripple Labs. It's so funny. Of course, now XRP was created before Ripple was, so Ripple could not have been the issuer. And it's certainly not a security, unless he thinks that Ethereum and every other altcoin on the market is a security, and then he's just got a bogus definition. So there we go. But hey, what do you know? This is like the first time I can ever recall him citing potential positive price action, but he still took jabs. What are you going to do? Let the bias bleed through. All right, so anyway, I'm hoping to see some lower price action. I've got some cash ready. I have actually put a good bit of additional fiat currency from my checking account into various cryptocurrency exchanges, and should this drop occur, I will be purchasing cryptocurrency with it. But I'm going to wait. Maybe it'll just be a few days, but that's fine. I got some good buys yesterday, so. But like I said, again, for me, it's different. Like, if you still feel like you need to accumulate, I'm not telling you to buy or sell or hold or wait or take action. I'm not advising at all. I'm just saying for me, I have enough already. Like, if I don't buy anything, I'm good. But if it gets lower, then it's like I have to feel enticed if I'm going to put even more money into it at this point. So that's where I'm coming from, I just say I have look at it this way. Even though I believe that this is going to get substantially greater than it is, you got to understand that I'm a human that's only willing to take on so much risk. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not literally going to put 100% of my net worth into crypto. And so I need to be enticed if I'm going to continue to put money in. But I'm excited for what's going to come here. This is going to be a really fun year, very exciting. And so if you're listening to this channel, I hope you're one of the people that gets by now that these dips are not to be feared. At least in my opinion, they're to be celebrated, certainly at least if you're in a buying mood. Now, of course, again, eventually there will be a final top before this market crashes. Don't be surprised if it goes down 80 to 90%, maybe more than that for most coins when we hit that. But you know what? I think we'll have some reasonable markers along the way. So I'm just going to keep following all sorts of chart analysts and forming my own unprofessional opinion to decide what makes the most sense for me. That's all one can really do, though. So I think there will be some indicators when we get close to the top. I just don't think we're anywhere near that at this point. But I will go ahead and wrap up there. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.